English Culminating assignment by me. Intro. I think authors create flawed characters so that the book has an interesting character arc if the flawed character is a main character. If not, then the flawed character is for the main character to help. For a person to be flawed, that means that the character has a problem either mentally or physically. The characters that were most flawed from the materials are Barney from Barney, Macbeth from Macbeth, and Andy from On the Sidewalk Bleeding. Barney. Barney from Barney is the most flawed character from the short story unit. Barney is a rat living on an island by himself. He killed the scientist who gave him knowledge. His flaw is ambition. Barney is not able to overcome his flaw. In the end, Barney's flaws did not lead to his downfall because he was able to kill his friend that gave him knowledge. Barney's flaw made him likable because most of the time, people that are ambitious either succeed like Barney or fail like the scientist. Barney's flaws also impact the story by making the scientist think that it was his friend Kalo that attempted to kill Barney. Barney shows us he is flawed when they finish the last entry in the scientist's journal in the book. An example of this is when he says the following two quotes. Macbeth. Macbeth from Macbeth is the most flawed character from the drama unit. Macbeth is a warrior that lives in Scotland with his wife. In the play, he seeks power and he dies because of it. His flaw is also ambition. Macbeth comes from a wealthy family and is not able to overcome his flaw. Ultimately, his flaw did lead to his downfall because he wanted more and was fooled into thinking that he is invincible. Macbeth's flaw made him unlikable because he didn't care for the citizens of his country and made it seem like wrong was right and right was wrong. Macbeth's flaws also impact the story by making Macduff and Malcolm flee to England and recruit an army to fight back against Macbeth. Macbeth shows us he is flawed when he says that he is invincible in the book. This is shown when he says the following two quotes. Andy from On the Sidewalk Bleeding. Andy from On the Sidewalk Bleeding is the most flawed character from any unit. Andy is a 16-year-old boy, part of a gang called the Royals. He was killed. His flaw was ambition. Andy comes from a city with two rival gangs. He is not able to overcome his flaw. In the end, Andy's flaws did lead to his downfall because he was ambitious to marry a girl he liked when he realized he was dying. Andy's flaws make him a likable character because most people realized how ambitious they were in their life at the last moments of their life. Andy's flaws also impact the story by when a cop shows up, he only sees the Royals part of Andy's life and not the other part of his life when Laura tells the cop his name. Andy shows us he is flawed when he realizes that he could have done more in the book. An example of this is when he thinks the following two quotes. Outro. I think authors create flawed characters so that the book has an interesting character arc. If the flawed character is the main character. If not, then the flawed character is for the main character to help. For a person to be flawed, that means that the character has a problem, either mentally or physically. The characters that were the most flawed from the materials are Barney from Barney, Macbeth from Macbeth, and Andy from On the Sidewalk Bleeding.